The reason we know how to use margin because we know how to use margin. Because you don't know how to use margin, well, don't put it on us. Don't even ask us questions.
Ryan, why don't you pull up Amazon's margins real quick?
Well, yeah, I'd have more of a grin on my face than Stephen Hawking on Epstein's Island.
I'm off as a smug cock when you said that.
Wow, fiscal philosophy, you're not very smart at all. You screw up, cash flow kings. Dissector, you are an idiot.
Hello, everybody. It is Saturday. It is 8 p.m. Eastern. It's Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. It is one of the most looked forward to days of the week, one could say. Isn't that right, Fiscal?
You betcha. It's the day that all our dreams come true.
Yeah, it depends what your dreams are, and we are absolutely one to judge what those dreams are. For most people, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern is a time to go out thought chasing. It's a time to go out looking for low quality, below the waist assets. I don't even know if you can call it an asset. I think it's more of a liability, if anything.
It's negative cash flow, as my dad always says.
Well said. But welcome back, everybody. Fiscal, what are some activities you could be doing at Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern that are not accretive to your lifestyle or perhaps investing?
You know, you could be sports betting, gambling away all your cash flow.
Not good.
That's not income, ladies and gentlemen. That's not income.
Not good.
You could be playing a little bit of blackjack. Maybe you're on one of those platforms that Evolution Gaming licenses to. You never know.
Hey, I'm not one to judge if that's the case.
Could be using varying products that are supplied by BTI, Altria, or Philip Morris.
I would never do such thing.
You would never stuff a Zin into your mouth.
On another note, I was thinking you could perhaps go out to some of those, 18 and over clubs that are kind of notorious around town for letting high schoolers in. And perhaps you guys have one too many, Anheuser-Busch and Bev products in you. You get a little tipsy and let's just say you get a little bit of that Mississippi bloodhound in you. And, you could end up on the news in the next week. Not something that you want to be doing.
Listen, you never start a series of good decisions with a Bud Light Lime.
Absolutely true. Let's see who's in the chat, though. I can always appreciate people who come into the chat, like, on a Wednesday when I pre-upload the video or whatever. I can always appreciate this. And we're going to read it out for the sake of it. But Hans asks, can you make this a tutorial episode to do a pump and dump and make the evidence point to something else? Ironically, this was posted before the Trump coin was made last night. So
this guy knew he must be some kind of oracle.
Yeah. We will be discussing that for sure. Stabulo, well-known bag holder. You could have bet on the Texans. I mean, it's a rough double whammy loss there. Slot machines are not fun. I don't know how people get addicted to slot machines. I don't know about you, Fiscal, but I just can't do it.
So I have played slot machines before. I get bored after about 30 minutes, to be honest with you.
I just can't. I never see the appeal of it, dude. I know I'm gonna lose. At least blackjack, it's you got a realistic chance of coming out there with a profit. I just know.
So I have there was one time, and it was only one occasion. Went to the Talking Stick Casino. Don't try to stalk me there. I don't go there regularly, people. With a friend of mine when I first moved to the area here, and we just wanted to scope it out, and we messed around with the slots for a little while, and I actually came out like $40 ahead. So it does happen.
Yeah. It does happen, everybody. You just got to have a very short leash when it comes to when you're getting the profit. That's our cash flow gambling advice for legal reasons. That's a joke. Before we let our special guest in, we do have a big announcement to make, which is a bit of a shocker on this channel. So somehow the people at Finchat found us professional enough to offer us a nice affiliate link, which is very kind. Finchat's it's an actual legit software. We're going to be using it throughout the episodes. We're more so going to be using it for the deep dives. We've had Ari on before, and it's like a legit
Uber episode. It was used heavily during the Uber episode.
Yeah, and it just lets you go very deep into all the logistics. So figured we'd announce that at the beginning of the show before you let Davis, who was very enthusiastic when we were talking about gambling, into the show. So we'll let him in. Davis, do you have any gambling stories that you'd like to share to start off the Saturday 8 p.m. Eastern show?
The only gambling I do is every once in a while I'll buy call options on a very speculative stock, meme stock. That's about it. Like that's all the gambling I do is in the stock market.
There's no Trump coin for you? I thought you were buying it.
No,
I
I
was some Wall Street bets
like everyone else. I woke up and got on X today and I was like, what is this Trump coin? And people are making millions of dollars after putting in a couple thousand.
Oh, we could have made it.
if only
We could have made it. We could have totally. If
There's a
I
big
only
chance.
stayed up an extra hour last night, we could have been cash flow positive.
When did it drop? Like 2 a.m. or something?
Yeah, it was late because there was some sort of Bitcoin or not like crypto ball conference because all the Republican influencers were there and Snoop Dogg. So good fun.
That was really
Let's
fun.
see. Fried Muffin comes in with a good question. I'm not gonna. I'll very vaguely put that on screen for purposes. Dividend Dude has said yes to every debate offer that I've given him. It is. That's all. That's as far as I'm going to go into it. We've had actual money been put on the line for the debate with Dividend Dude and Dan Weston to come onto the show. Dan has been offered a cumulative amount of about $50 now, maybe a Cash Flow Kings membership if I'm feeling generous. But yeah, that's all I have to say about it. There's very hard stipulations that are going into effect behind the scenes. So if you know, you know.
Yeah, there's conditions, terms and conditions apply. Yep.
I've been following Dividend Dude on X for a while, and he seems like a pretty big fan of Palantir. Isn't that
Loves
like
it.
That's funny. That's a good one.
that's the number one thing, right?
want to
He's
start off the night.
99% of his portfolio in Palantir, right?
Yeah,
that's true.
I thought it was 100%, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's not. It's 99% Palantir shares, 1% Palantir call options. You're right.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun to see him like whatever the stock price does. He's like he either says this is ridiculous or finally it's dropping.
I know. There is no in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always an interesting. I don't know how people fall for it at this point. We've literally had him on. It's like clear rage bait, but I don't. People take it. Good way on Twitter to earn money.
We really need to have a finance guy on. That's who we need.
Yeah,
I think that's not happening.
Yeah, we're. I don't know, Fiscal. You were getting pretty. I think we're making some progress. He was responding to some of your tweets.
Yeah, no,
Have you tried DMing him? Like reaching out to him at all?
Well, not on the Cash Flow Kings account. So, I mean, there's a chance, but I did ironically make a post about him falling off because he had like a tweet that was up for 6 hours and it only got like 10 likes and like 400 engagements. So I'm like, all right, I'll mess with him. So I just scheduled a post in the future. I'm like, Dad, what was the fall off a finance guy like? And yeah, maybe there's a chance.
Can't get enough of a finance guy.
Yeah.
I wonder if he honestly, I wonder if he would be like chill to talk to, or if he would be the same on like something like this as he is on X. I don't know.
We
The
found
type
that.
of-
Yeah.
the type of insufferable that he is hard to fake. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Because I go back and forth between like wondering if he really like is serious or if he really is just like.
I know.
Yeah, some people absolutely will die on that hill of he is playing a character, but I like even if he is like slightly, baiting people, I feel like the underlying personality is still that way.
Yeah. I saw him made a post. He's like, let me know if you guys want me to be more open and transparent about my personal life on here. I'm like, dude, you're just giving us free material to go off of. Like,
You don't do
it's too easy. There's no way.
Like I wouldn't get any more personal than you already are. His
Yeah.
most recent thing is, I don't know if you guys saw, his wife got in a car accident.
Oh.
This is the latest one. Yep.
She was totally fine. The car was totaled. And he goes, hey, we got in a car accident, but I got $7,000 from the insurance company. Like, what should I do with it or something? And everyone's like, oh, well, maybe you could put that $7,000 down on like a $15,000 used car and finance the rest. And he gets angry about it. Like people are giving him advice, he gets mad about it, and then like starts fights with people. We're like, dude, you asked. Like, come on.
Because he's not. It's funny because he's like I would say Dave Ramsey fanboy, but like he's even lower than that. He's a fanboy of like a Dave Ramsey fanboy.
Yeah.
Because he always talks up how much he loves George Camel. And actually it's funny because like the glasses and the haircut and stuff in his he might actually be George Camel. You never know.
His tweets, literally, I'll read them. I'll like read them in like the most, like whenever I read his tweets, it's like an annoying, like nerdy, squeaky voice. And it just makes me laugh every time. Like reading it in that voice.
Did you know he offered me, what was it, $5 per pull-up?
I know. I thought it was push-up.
$1 per push-up, 5 per pull-up.
Yeah.
I wonder if he has enough money to pay up, and that's why he deleted that one.
Yeah. The Twitter bucks weren't paying as well as he thought they would, and whenever he posted in December.
I hope he does figure out his car thing, because that was pretty funny. Because people were like, how do you not? He kind of like backpedals too. Like someone said, "How are you a finance guy if you don't have enough money for a used car?"
Well, he actually does, but you see, the thing is, he doesn't consider it an emergency, so he doesn't want to use the emergency fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of judging people based off how much money they have if they're like run a stocks or news channel, but he gets an exception.
Yeah.
Because he's super judgy of everybody else. That's
yeah, you get an exception.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He always says, I hope the Bitcoin guys, like, I wouldn't be mad if the Bitcoin guys made money, but he would. Like, he'd be like genuinely angry if Bitcoin went to 200,000 or whatever.
By the way, we are very close to 1,000 subscribers, which is pretty cool. And we have a new intro for 1K. And it's the best piece of work I've ever done. I was hyping it. Fiscal can attest to this because on like Thursday, I was like, okay, I'm doing this. It is the best thing I've ever done. It's like a compilation, like the best moments from like pretty much the entire couple year or like year and a half we've done this. So like I look forward to it next week if we hit it. We can start gouging you guys for more money.
That's a hint to subscribe if
that is a hint to subscribe if you haven't already yet.
Yeah, you're like what, a couple away? Like 4 or 5
Yeah, we're like 40 away. It's wild times. The grift is almost complete.
And I should know this because I'm a YouTuber, but
yeah.
Is it 1,000 subscribers and you can get monetized?
So there's the lower tier of like memberships is at 500, and then ad rev is 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the watch time, we're doing great because the people that tune in watch the episodes from beginning to end, and they're quite long.
Also, we do have a Disney deep dive coming out for the channel members. This will be fun because me and Fiscal is like one of the only companies that we both own now, besides BTI, which is a new addition to the portfolio as of this week.
Nice.
But yeah, I think we start off the show with Apple. What about you, Davis? Do you have any objection to that?
No, my timing was actually perfect with Apple. I completely sold out. It was hard to do. It was really hard to do. Completely sold out probably like 3 or 4 days before it. I guess you could call it a sell-off.
Yeah, I sold all of my stuff the day before. I only had like 2 or 3 shares left, but still, I got out nice 60% gain. Oh,
yeah, that's about. I think mine was like 45%. Had about 10, 15. I think I had about 15 grand in it.
So what was the biggest issue for you when it came to Apple? Why you sold? Because I'm pretty sure we have the same answer.
Well, first of all, I'm actually trying to focus a little bit more on smaller cap stocks.
Yeah.
So that was the number one thing. It's just a huge company, and it seems like there's not much more room for it to grow. I think we've seen that iPhone sales have slowed over the past couple of quarters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just not. I don't know. To me, it's just not a company that I can see growing more than it already has. People make the argument. It can still increase its or it'll keep its PE ratio where it's at because of buybacks and things like that. But just the fact that it's not really like. I mean, the Vision Pro was kind of a flop. I don't know. Just a lot of reasons and a lot of factors that just led me to eventually sell out and move it to smaller cap companies that have a lot higher growth prospects and will actually increase their cash flows and revenues and everything like that. So
I'm so happy that everybody here has sold Apple.
I know I say that as I get ready for Apple Intelligence update on my Mac that just popped up in the right corner. That's the innovation that we got. Apple Intelligence.
It's funny when he said small cap, he instantly summoned a certain person into the chat.
I know, yeah. Say his name and he appears as another Flake Doubter. Yeah, small cap. We'll get the high tide. We'll pitch that to you eventually. No, I it's just like revenue. I think has been stagnant for like 3 years now. It's so big. I hate to sell out of a company like that because I think Tim Cook's a genius, and it's like one of those companies that like the Apple ecosystem or whatever. But I just can't justify holding at that valuation when you have other companies in my portfolio that are like severely discounted. And this is another giant part too. And I know you'll appreciate this. SCHG, the exposure there, I think it's like a 10% holding in SHG. So I'm like, I'm still getting exposure. I probably indexed half of my money from the Apple, and I'm happy with it there.
Yeah, I sold out of actually, let me double check so I'm not wrong here, but I sold out of XLK that had a ton of exposure to Apple as well. And that was like one of the main reasons why. Let me double check. Yeah, it's 14% Apple, and then another 13% Nvidia, and then 13% in Microsoft. So the top holding is Apple. And so that was one of the reasons why I completely sold out of XLK as well.
Yeah. With the Apple money, do you care sharing what you put it into, or is it just cash right now?
So that's kind of an interesting question because I have I have cash in a different account. My Robinhood account is technically a margin account. So I hold a percentage of cash or cash equivalents as margin. And so it's kind of, so basically I sold out of Apple, which decreased my margin position, which also increased my buying power. So anything I buy, it just goes to margin and I pay interest on that. But the reason why I do that is just because I want to hold. I have too many stocks. I just get too excited about too many stocks. So I have a lot of holdings, and that it dips into my margin when I buy too much, or when I buy enough. So I have like 30 grand in margin, which is about 1.2x leverage. So to me, because I have a job and because I put so much capital into my Robinhood account, to me that's not very high risk because I'm fairly diversified as well. So that's kind of a long answer. So I haven't put it into anything yet. I've decreased my margin balance and increased my buying power. So I don't have any cash, but I have cash equivalents, if that makes sense.
See, everybody, this is where me and Davis sold just a few days ago, and look where we're at now. I hate to say it, but we did time the market.
Yeah, perfectly.
Buy our course link in the description. Yeah,
that's the way to do it. You have to just time the market. That's all you got to
do. It's
time
easy.
it perfectly.
And like, look at that, like the revenue growth, like 2.2% over 3 years, 8% over 10 years, which I mean, that's okay. It's respectable. But my rationale is like, you put half of that in the index fund. I still get exposure because I'm an Apple fanboy at heart. Put the other half into, I'm reading that comment right now. Put the other half into like some small caps that I'll definitely talk about that I think have some room for some generational wealth. And I know Blake is smiling as I say that. But yeah, Apple, rest in peace. Thank you for your service. But
it's been good. Yeah, it's been a good one.
Hey, I could buy back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Goes back to 160, 170. We're talking.
So like 4 years.
Maybe. I don't know. It's going to be interesting though, because I mean, I think Trump's going to take one of the next market corrections. Like historically speaking, we're pretty due. So it's going to be the market. Actually, it's going down. You know why? It's because the Democrats, they're going to get back in. It's true. Your favorite president's gone.
Just looking at a kind of the trend, just based off of the trends and historical returns, I think we will have a little bit of a correction. I think we need it. I think we need a correction.
I agree.
I mean, Trump pumping a crypto coin and people making millions of dollars off of $1,000 investment.
Yeah,
I think we need at least like a 15 or 20% correction. I think that's what's going to happen. That's just kind of my prediction throughout the year. But I do think that we'll still end fairly positive, and that's just based off of
I thought we were going to end up flat this year. But I'm like, me and Fiscal discussed it, but like the amount of people that are going to get screwed if we have
a lot of volatility in between. So that 20% correction could happen sometime, and then we come back up to even by the end of the year.
That's kind of what I'm thinking will happen.
But me and Fiscal have been humming. I'm like, next time there's like an actual like crash. I hate using the word crash, but like like a 20% drop. Oh my Lord, it's gonna be so nice just to see so many people that like get completely bent over. Oh, it's gonna.
There's
I
going to
hate
be some
there's some
people are
certain
going to get
people,
wiped out. Yeah.
people that like to use
That's one of my
margin.
favorite things in the world, especially when the market falls like 2% on the week or 3%, and people just freak out. They think
Oh,
the
no.
world's ending. What do I do if I lost all this money? What do I do? The market's crashing.
We were in extreme fear, the fear and greed meter on CNN. It's like
hypothetical. Okay, like let's say the 20% correction is upon us. Which stocks do you think take it on the chin worst? Because there's some that always drop more than others. That like in the 2000s, it was like stocks like Yahoo and stuff that took the biggest hit. Like what ones are going to be leading the charge of blood red on that 20% correction when it comes?
Apple, Nvidia,
I think
MicroStrategy.
yeah,
MicroStrategy, yeah.
Tesla,
maybe even Palantir, Rocket Lab.
Oh my God, dude.
Wi-Fi.
Dude, Dividend, dude. If there's a market crash and Palantir's at like the beginning, we're gonna need a leash for him, dude. Somebody's gonna dox him, dude. I'm telling you, he might
be
step like
diabolical.
it could go down like 20% a day, and he makes a tweet. Finally, this is what they deserve. Or he like misword something, and then suddenly you're gonna see like somebody's gonna put a $1,000 hit out on Dividend, dude. Hey, don't do that. I didn't recommend that to anybody. Don't do it. He's a hard guy to find. Yeah, well said. Correction in time.
I mean, or we might have one more year of 25% gains in the S&P 500 and another 150% gains with these meme stocks. I don't know. Yeah. That could happen too.
Blake asks, what do we all use for our cash equivalents? I use Escov personally. Some good income out there.
I keep it in like the standard, money market option on Schwab. It's probably a little bit less than Escov, but it's fine.
I just use high yield savings accounts.
Well said. I went on a journey this week to buy Evolution Gaming. That's my big announcement to everybody. I bought Evolution this week. Fiscal is obviously very close, as you all can see. We're having the roundtable next week, so hopefully that's our 1K celebration show. He's gonna buy some after, but so with Evolution, it's a lot of big reason that a lot of people don't own it is just because of how hard it is to actually buy. For one, you have to, on some brokerages, it's just not available because it's a Swedish company. For two, I have to place it in a limit order.
Yeah, it's because it's an OTC on the US market. Yeah.
There's also a fee. There's like a commission fee when you trade it. So, I mean, those are all reasons that's pretty discounted. But I put in a limit order at like 75.24, went through, and now I am a Evolution Gaming shareholder. So, small cap city. Davis, do you know anything about Evolution Gaming, or do I need to shill this too?
I was actually trying to look it up, but I couldn't find it. It wasn't pulling up on Seeking Alpha.
Well, that's convenient because all of their financials are in Finchat. Link in description for our affiliate link.
Hey, there we go.
Fiscal, would you like to explain the business while I pull up some of the financials and growth here?
Yeah, my understanding is that they essentially are a licensor of gaming software. By gaming, I mean gambling software to various sites. And so you could be playing some blackjack or something online. There's a good chance that you're actually playing on Evolution Gaming and you just may not even realize it.
You forgot the market share. What's the market share?
I don't remember. What is it?
Like 60%. Yeah.
60%.
It's pretty big.
I knew it was high, but didn't know it was that high.
It might be 60. I'm going to say 60 just to kind of lowball it, but it's definitely high. Growth. This is why I potentially put some of the Apple funds into this. 3-year revenue growth, 29.7%. 5 and 10-year revenue growth, 46%. Free cash flow is something that we all love as investors. Don't worry, this is a good company for you too. That is what we call explosion Fiscal. That's a free cash flow explosion.
It is. That is a lot of free cash flow. You could even call it income.
Yep, well said. They also grow that dividend very aggressively too. It's I believe. Let's hear.
This doesn't help me. I don't invest in profitable companies. I only invest in negative cash flow.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get Dividend dude on the show sometime. Then we'll pitch you Nike. I don't get the Nike buy. We could talk about that.
All right. So in that case, there's a very interesting REIT I have for you.
Okay. Dividend per share. Yeah, this is dividend per share. Consistently growing, or the growth rate's like 60% on the dividend. It's ridiculous. 3 or 4% yield. It kind of has this in stock effect, and also I think it would be worthy to mention. I'm not reading that, Hans. Okay, here we go. Thank you. We're having him on, by the way, next week. Finfluential. 60% market share in Europe, 90% in the US, and 72% in Asia. That doesn't scream moat. I don't know what does. I don't think they buy back shares, but
They do.
Oh, they do? Did they just start doing it?
When I looked at their financials, I saw buybacks.
I thought it was kind of stagnant, but they total shares outstanding. We'll take a look. Ari is probably watching right now and disgusted with. Yeah, they're slowly doing it over time.
Yeah, it looks like maybe it's just recently.
Yeah, just recently, but still, it's and they were also down 4.8% the other day. From my understanding, that was due to regulation. I think they were getting sued by European Commission. We're going to talk about it next week, but they're definitely being sued over something. And Seymour Duck is hammering that this is blood in the water and potential opportunity. I want to buy in larger quantities, so I didn't add any, but like I'd absolutely buy more at like high 60s or low 70s. Do you have any questions on this pitch?
This is a Swedish company, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, price to free cash flow of 12.2 and a PE of 14.1. So it's pretty undervalued relatively. Growing very fast, small cap stock. If you're interested,
100% gross margins and 67% EBITDA margins.
Yeah, very profitable as well. There's not a lot of overhead, from what I understand. Good business.
Solid.
Payout ratio still below 50% with all that growth they've had as well. It's good.
It's just one of those where I think it's not on people's radar because it's a Swedish company, and I just don't think with it being on the over-the-counter market in the U.S., not showing up on every brokerage, like it just hasn't really caught the attention of retail investors for the most part. I don't have any yet, so
he's going to be convinced next week. Davis, are you buying or what? Buying after 5-minute pitch or?
I don't know. Let's see if it's on Robinhood. Probably not.
Oh, I don't think it is.
Oh yeah. You probably have to be on
Fidelity
or Schwab or one of the like boomer brokerages to get it.
Fidelity.
All that time for nothing.
I have a Fidelity account, but it's got $0 in it. So
you might be able to find.
Start the small cap portfolio in there.
There we go. That's a good idea. There's a company, I can't even remember what the ticker symbol is, but they make Biscoff cookies. I think they're, I can't even remember what company they're in, but they're in Europe. They make Biscoff cookies, and they've been growing at like a 15% CAGR for like 30 years. It's insane. And all they do is they have contracts with like Delta and like, yeah, they're just like this little bakery in Europe, and they've been growing.
It's true though; those little cookies, especially on like international flights, they hand them out every flight. Those little packets.
And I think they're good. Some people like it, but I think they're dang good.
Yeah,
it's got cookie butter too that you can like spread on toast. Super good. But yeah, that's a really cool company too. I haven't really looked.
They're a crowd pleaser.
You're not buying Hershey, are you? That's their Twitter Dividend Twitter popular one now.
Oh, is it? Huh. No, I'm not buying Hershey.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you. A lot of the companies that I'm interested in are still very overvalued, and I do think that we will have a correction within the next. I think we will start to see it this spring. That's kind of my prediction. So a lot of these small cap companies are still fairly overvalued. I really like Train Technologies. It's an HVAC company located in, I think, Dublin. I talked about it today in my video about PAVE. It's like in the industrial sector. But still fairly overvalued, but it's one that I want to start buying more shares of. So I'm kind of just like seeing what there is to start looking more into. And then once we see if there is a correction, that's when I'm going to start buying a lot more. I did actually sell a lot out of Berkshire Hathaway as well. Kind of the same reason with well, it's just not exciting enough for me. So I sold like 80% of my position.
95% of Berkshire's cash anyway. So
you might as well just hold the cash yourself instead of letting Daddy Buffett hold it for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Shout out to episode 32 veteran Bacon Memes for being a member for 4 months. We are not dancing because of that, by the way. You guys know the rules that if we're dancing or not, and Davis can partake in that if he'd like to. Every time we get a new channel member, we're obligated to dance.
I'll watch.
Yeah, you get to watch. You get to cheer us on.
So tell me more about BTI. I'm actually kind of curious.
BTI?
Yeah.
Fiscal, you want to go ahead of this? You're the BTI ringleader here.
What, BTI, huh?
8.25% dividend yield. There we go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the story with BTI, from my perspective, is it's a valuation thing, because there's 3 companies that I think are thought of as the big 3 tobacco companies, and that's BTI, Altria Group, and Philip Morris International. Altria and Philip Morris used to be one, and they split up domestic U.S. and international into 2 different companies. That's the origin of those 2 companies. Altria is the one that does just the U.S., and I don't like them so much because the U.S. smoking market is shrinking every single year, right? Customers are dying off faster than new ones are replacing them, essentially. That's the story there. BTI, however, is international, and so while they do sell in the U.S., they sell everywhere. So some markets are growing, some are shrinking globally, right? So it sort of offsets. But the crazy thing is, if you look at the multiples, there have been points in the last year or so where BTI was at half the multiple of their free cash flow compared with Altria. And I think BTI is not only like just better in general, but cheaper. So it stood to reason to me that I should get out of Altria and rotate the money into BTI. They also pay out a lower percentage of their free cash flow towards their very high dividend. I believe they're around a 60% payout ratio compared to Altria's 80%, which leaves them a lot of room for buybacks at a cheap price. Because even at today's price of $36.30, it's more expensive than where I bought in by a little bit. They're only trading for 6.5 times free cash flow. And
there are rumblings of them suspending the dividend and putting into buybacks as well, or is that just Fabio?
No. That is never happening. Okay. That's something that Fabio wants them to do. It's not something that they're going to do. Yeah. All of us that
fuck you, Fabio.
All of us that actually know what would be more accretive to shareholders and would just want the better value. We all want them to do that, but
they won't.
Their board would get lynched in the streets if they suspended the dividend.
Whoa.
Basically.
I'm looking at the board right now. I hope you get away with that one.
Metaphorically, I mean.
Yeah, let's hope
maybe
that they're not very diverse. That'd be a bad look for Cash Flow Kings after getting sponsored.
But no, they will not be suspending the dividend. And watch, next week they announce that they suspend the dividend in order to do buybacks.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be good. I mean, okay, you're lucky here, Fiscal. Oh, I don't like it. All right, I'm not gonna put that on the screen, but you guys get the gist. Yeah, it'd be the BTI fan club it's growing very steadily here. Right. But I do like the less exposure to smoking that they have, especially in the U.S.
Ryan, what were people saying about your portfolio when you revealed it a couple days ago? Did you get positive feedback?
Oh, I gotta address what you said. Was it about SHD? Because I kind of forgot because I'm grinding on the CFK Twitter now. I'm on to bigger and better. Okay, yeah, it was too much SHD in my portfolio. I'll pull up the portfolio right now.
So my opinion is basically that one share of SCHD is too much. So yeah, I agree.
Fiscal,
Okay,
you're
Fiscal's
just a
on my
hater.
side.
You don't.
I was
But if
afraid
you have-
Fiscal was going to be like, no, you need more SCHD.
I'm a hater.
This is the same guy that has money in MPW. I can't be listening to it. It's oh, by the way, the MPW hate, it's cool again now, so I can get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, the MPW hate is certainly always welcome because it keeps the stock cheap.
Well said. It's going to be cheap for a long time. I don't know why this isn't pulling up, of course, right when our show is, but yeah, right now my portfolio, 10%. Actually, I'll pull up the tweet. We'll go through some of the replies. It's always a little fun going through some of the replies when you put out your portfolio. I didn't realize that people were that into it. You were criticizing the SCHD though, which is about like 9% of it right now. What specifically do you not like about having a brother having 9% of SCHD in his portfolio?
So, you know, I always, for me personally, like people can do whatever they want. I just don't see. I don't know. This is funny because this is exactly what finance guy was saying. So I'm kind of what the finance guy was saying. But if it's underperforming the S&P 500 year over year, and that's what we've seen, and it might not going forward, right? Like you can't just base the past performance off of what it's going to do in the future. I just think if it's underperforming the S&P 500 and you're young, I don't see the point. A lot of these companies are just slow growing, very mature, and they're paying like a 2 or 3% dividend. And I just feel like that's not going to move the needle when you can be investing into SCHG, VOO, these ETFs that are a lot faster growing. They're growing at 10% more than what SCHD is growing at year over year. And
I acknowledge that.
In 2022, and people get so pissed off, and it's like, you can do what you want. Like if you're focused on dividends, that's great. But I'm not. Like I don't really need the dividends right now. I'm just focusing on growing my portfolio as fast as possible, with mitigating risk, keeping the risk low too. So that's just my opinion. Like I don't really see the thrill, and I don't get why it's such a popular ETF. There's just so many out there that
I think it's overhated actually now. People like finance guy and you. No,
well, finance guy. It's funny because he was a couple years ago. He was a pumper of SCHD, but because he like temporarily got a bad result, he sold out of it and bought VOO and started pumping VOO and saying that SCHD sucks.
Yeah. Okay, so with SH, I don't know if I've ever told you the plan with the portfolio when it comes to SH and SHG. So I want to go a lot more ETF approach just because I think it works and it's like more hands off. I want to go 25 to 30% SCG. I'm not going to like constantly monitor that, but somewhere in that range, like long term, 10% SHD. So it's not going to grow. And I know Fiscal likes to make the argument that having like 10 and 10 would just basically be boo. But if I had the extra like 10% in SHG, I'd still be getting that outperformance. When it comes to the dividends thing, I think the SHD, I know it's technically a payout, but they have quality dividend growth still. I get a good amount of yield. And I'm going to actually use the dividend probably, I'm 19 right now, so there's a very good chance I'm using them in 10 years. So I think right now, if I let the compounding kind of start, I'm not like aggressively adding right now. I've kind of maxed out my buying with that.
Cost will go up too, right? Like that's the argument that everyone makes. It's like if you start young and you compound the dividends,
and
cost will go up.
But with SHG, I said I want to make it like 25, 30%. So I have that outperformance there. I'm going to use the dividends. I've talked notoriously about the Cash Flow Kings Vegas made up. I'm going to use my SHD dividends for hookers. I'm sorry, gambling, other activities in Las Vegas that are not going to occur on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Like, listen, 30 is pretty close for me now. You gotta acknowledge it. So I think right now I'm getting paid like $30 a quarter or whatever from them. It's not a crazy amount. Eventually I'm hoping it compounds. And hey, the market there, I've have vividly remembered days where like during the fall when everybody thought we were going to crash or whatever. And even during like 2022, like it was outperforming the S&P. So I think the performance thing, it makes sense, but like I think it's also very picky right now to say that when we're in a crazy bull market with like tech and everything. Yeah, and also I would own a lot more SHG right now if the market wasn't ridiculous. Like,
right, yeah.
when
And
it
yeah, I
crashed,
don't want to be the guy that's like finance guy that whenever the market's up, I say, oh, you should just be buying tech and growth. And then when I was like, SCHD is if you need. So I don't want to be like that, but again, like for me personally, if the market does fall 15-20%, I'm just going to buy more growth.
Yeah, it's fair. That's what I'm gonna do too, because that's why SHG isn't like 25% right now. Like I hate timing the market. I'm just slowly at.
Oh, sorry, I could cut you off.
Keep going.
I was gonna say, I do think you can do whatever you want, but I do think that you don't need Microsoft because of how much SCHG you have. I think
Preach.
If it
Preach.
there's already so much exposure
that's fair
to Microsoft and SCHG, plus your weighting is, the majority of it's SCHG, right? So I think it's pointless to have Microsoft, in my opinion. But
the only Mag 7 you need is Amazon.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, Amazon's fine. In
there
fact,
could be a reanalysis because I think Microsoft has a little AI bubble effect to it. But what's Microsoft at now? Is it like 420 still? If it got to like 450, I'd probably be okay. 430. My average on Microsoft is insane too. Like it's. I want to say.
Do you think Amazon will be the first $5 trillion company?
Man,
Dividend dude's Palantir tweets coming out at
how far away is because I know for example, like Apple I think is still ahead of them in market cap, and so is Microsoft. Like how far off are they from doing it? Is Microsoft ahead of Apple right now? Market cap wise? Because Apple just dropped, right? So
I'm looking. Microsoft. Oh shoot. Microsoft 3.1 trillion. Apple is 3. Okay, Apple's ahead of them by a little bit.
Okay. Well, I mean, if Microsoft doesn't get there first, I think Amazon has a pretty good chance. I think it would be more justified for Amazon to hit it first. We'll just say that.
Okay, this is a very good point. I have about fucking had it with Starbucks too.
Oh, you got a PG-13, Ryan.
Oh shoot, it's not 9 p.m. Sorry, not 9 p.m. I'm about flipping hat with Starbucks. Personally, there's a very bad experience I had today. I get into the line. I just get a coffee from Starbucks, the straightest order you can get. We've had the debate on the Cash Flow Kings multiple times. If you go to Starbucks, are you gay? As a man, look, I go to get the coffee. I get in line. My coffee is usually like 4:40. I don't always go there, so it's a bit of a treat on a Saturday. 8 p.m. Eastern, I get hyped. Get in line. I wait in line. By the time I get to the menu, I order the coffee. Oh, the coffee machine is broken. This is at 10 a.m., everybody. This is prime hours for coffee. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I have to get an Americano, which costs like $2 more. I just think it's ridiculous that there's not some sort of policy that like you have to pay extra because their machine isn't working. It's blasphemy. I'm heavily considering trimming if we get to 100. Like heavily trimming, like 50% out of the position. I've about had enough. I'm sorry. The Starbucks cult leader days may be over for Ryan. I may have to switch to the Evolution Gaming cult leader, Vici cult leader.
Yeah. I think maybe you got to be the Evolution cult leader.
Could happen. No, Seymour Duck is though. He put me on.
No, you can
cult leader.
You could be the Vici cult leader.
That could be actually I could be Vici because Joseph Carlson doesn't have the pants to hang on to it.
Because I don't think you want to be the Target cult leader anymore.
No, Target cult leader days are coming over. It's just...
and Dan's the McDonald's cult leader.
Yeah.
Blake's the High Tide cult leader.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's the Amazon cult leader.
Jeez. Fabio?
Yeah, probably Fabio.
Target, Vici, and Union Pacific I dump. Target's gonna be gone for sure. It's just a matter of getting out like at a reasonable loss. I'm not gonna. Yeah. Vici, I still actually like that one a lot. I like the real estate exposure. Probably just because the business model I'm gonna hold on. I also think it's undervalued. UNP, Dividend dude said this is the year of railroads, so take that for what you will, but I still think UNP is relatively undervalued, but just because of how much of a little weighting it is, I may be a little less aggressive when it comes to selling and just take gains. No comment, Blake. I'm no comment.
Blake,
I have no
has a
feelings one way or the
Blake has
other.
a very good point. A very good
You guys
point.
have a good point.
Yeah, I mean, not to bury the lead on high tide or anything, but they just entered Germany, my friend.
They did. That's also big news. High tide. The Germany arc has officially begun for high tide. I'll read some of the comments here because we're here.
Somebody said more yield max.
Yeah, some guy said, where are the yield max ones? I just said LOL. One of those very it's just low, just interesting interactions. Mistress Dividend, who Fiscal really likes her page for some reason. Yeah, you're welcome, Fiscal. I'm a good wingman. Well, see, yeah. Need to sprinkle the top 4 cryptos before Trump gets inaugurated. Definitely. Yeah, that's probably gonna happen. Oh yeah, I also bought like $100 worth of Uber this week. So the Uber, Aria's the Uber leader. We have to. Oh geez, Blake's high tide. We'll have to. Well, maybe for next year's end of the year award shows, we have to name a cult leader for every stock that we mentioned.
Yeah, that would be a fun segment.
Dividend Dude was the cult leader for Celsius for a while. I remember.
And Hershey.
Yeah.
I just see Celsius tweets a lot. Those ones pop up on my feed quite often.
He's the cult leader of a lot of stocks. I guess I'm MPW and Grab though. Grab more so. I actually have more Grab stock by dollars amount than I have MPW. So I am a genuine cult leader when it comes to Grab at this point.
Okay, we'll do the high tide segment now because Davis wants to learn about small caps.
And
Fiscal,
then
would you like
1 point as well? Don't forget Disney.
Oh yeah, Disney too. We'll definitely talk Disney. All right, Fiscal, would you like to start the high tide talk while I pull up their financials on Finchat? Link in description for our affiliate link.
So really quick, it says, at least on Seeking Alpha, forward PE of 661.6.
Does it say that? Is that what it says for high tide?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, look at free cash flow.
Price to free cash flow?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have on here, we have price to free cash flow of 13.6.
Yeah. Seeking Alpha says 9.71, but
yeah,
the price to free cash flow.
Dividend Dude's affiliated with Seeking Alpha. You can't
and keep in mind that
I am too.
If the data feed you have isn't properly converting between US and Canadian, because they're Canadian companies, so they report in Canadian dollars.
Really?
So if the conversion's wrong, it'll throw off the ratio. And dropping the price to free cash flow from 13 to 9 sounds about like the spread between US and Canadian dollars. Yeah. So high tide is, to my understanding, basically, are they the only profitable,
I believe so,
cash flow positive cannabis retailer in all of the glorious nation of Canada, our beloved neighbors to the north? $250 million market cap. They have a discount model that's sort of like a mini Costco type deal. I want to say they have a free membership program where they have like I think over 1 million people are in it, and on that they collect and provide data services to other people, to other companies in the industry. So they have like this revenue stream that just comes from the data they get on their free discount members. But then they also have a paid tier that I believe is growing at a substantial CAGR. Blake probably has their growth rate on that memorized at this point because he's the cult leader and that's his job. They have somewhere between 11 and 12% of market share in Canada currently. Their target is 20%. And they have reached a point where when they open new stores in Canada, they're only doing so with their free cash flow. So they're not taking on massive debt or diluting to open new stores. It's organic growth, as they say. We like organic on this channel. No GMOs or pesticides in their growth. And they just made an acquisition that puts them in the German medical market. And to describe the size of opportunity, so we are a 13 times free cash flow, $250 million company, and this is in USD, just by having 11 to 12% market share in Canada. Canada's GDP is about $2.2 trillion. Germany's GDP is about $4.9 trillion. Germany is more than double the size economically compared to Canada, and their per capita GDP is about 53,000 USD compared to Canada's 51,000 USD. So that makes Germany a much richer potential opportunity from my view. And I believe that medical is only the start, because I believe recreational is sort of on the horizon or expected to be coming through the pipeline sometime soon. And that's why they're getting the foothold there now. Blake will have to critique if and Blake added a little color to what I said there. So 17% new stores last year. So the growth is still frothy and organic. So there you go. And the stock is, from my view, for one that is only 250 million market cap and growing, I think 13 times free cash flow is cheap.
Yeah.
So sell Starbucks, buy High Tide.
Yeah. Much easier for High Tide to become a $1 billion market cap than for Starbucks to go from, well, what are they now?
Losers.
107 billion to like 300 billion or whatever it was.
Hey, they implement my great business model that I proposed last week. I think we can make it happen. The alcoholic, the New York City Starbucks alcoholic restaurants, I think that'd be great. The bars. The white chicks love their espresso martinis.
Yeah. So anyways, that's pretty much the bullet points on High Tide. Also, the most important part, their CEO is he's the GOAT, I think.
That's what they said. He hasn't come on the show yet. We've tried to get him and we were denied. But
Raj Grover is a pretty remarkable CEO. He's a founder and CEO and largest single shareholder of the company. So that his interests are aligned with ours, financially speaking, and he's responsible for building this from literally the first store up till the like couple hundred or so, whatever they have right now.
Raj, come on to the show. That's all I have to say.
Also,
we've tried to get him, and
he confirmed for me that he would absolutely talk to a couple guys wearing sunglasses. So because one of the critiques we had on one of our roundtables was we have sunglasses. Nobody will possibly want to talk to us or take us seriously. I literally just asked the guy, and he's like, absolutely, love sunglasses.
No, the High Tide roundtable.
Suck it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the High Tide roundtable, like the only bad thing about High Tide is like a lot of the investors are like very what's the word? I've said it before. I'm trying to think of it.
Well, you've called them autistic before.
No comment. Takes one to know one. No, it's like anything you don't talk about High Tide, we have to be like very careful.
Yeah, if you have like a 2-hour round table and you dare talk about something else for like 90 seconds, they are going to rise up and revolt against you in the comments.
90 is generous. You get like we'll get like these passive aggressive comments.
This is like bullshit. Why am I having to sit here and wait for the good stuff?
It's like we'll get a comment. It's like, this is honestly I swear to God, we've got a comment like this before. It's like, this is the best High Tide analysis I've ever seen in my entire life. You guys went so deep on it. But next time, maybe keep the two unprofessional guys wearing sunglasses out of it for a much more creative conversation. It's like, oh, thanks. Appreciate it, I guess.
Is this like a Reddit thread? What are you talking about?
Is it a what?
A Reddit thread? What do you
No, we get comments on it. It's like since it's small cap, it's like very very easy for you to kind of get big with the shareholders, and
I see.
They don't like us sometimes because how dare we talk about anything but High Tide? But
you didn't be a boomer.
Yeah, maybe we should rename the channel to the High Tide Show, but then not talk about High Tide at all. and see how they react.
Get a bunch of subscribers there. Yeah, any financials you want to look over here? We could look at total revenues as well. We'll pull it up. Why not? Total revenues growing very fast. They've been acquiring stores organically. We love everything natural here on the Cash Flow Kings. We can also look. Their margins as well are pretty solid, like 51%, 46%, or yeah, growing very fast, to say the least. Gross profit also going up as well. They're cash flow positive. Yeah, High Tide's a fun small cap. I definitely look into it.
Disney, on the other hand, is not a small cap.
Okay, Disney. Yeah, we'll talk Disney a little bit because me and Fiscal actually have to do the Disney deep dive. Are you into Disney right now?
Me? No, I'm not.
Oh, you got to convince you. Okay.
I'll be able to. Let's hear it.
I mean, I think it's relatively attractive.
Yeah, it's pulled back a little bit. Like it was touching 115, I think, not long ago. And it's back down to 107.
I think you could make the argument that they're not woke anymore. I guess you could say like they're doing good with Moana. They're doing like their movies are watchable again. What else do they have coming out? I'm trying to think. They have something big.
You know, it's funny. Like I'm probably the one person that has seen almost none of the MCU movies.
They're good.
Yeah, I don't even know how many there are. There's probably like 40 of them or something.
A lot.
Yeah, I think I've seen like 4.
I can't remember if I've seen Endgame, but I think that's the only one I don't know if it was that one or the other one, but that's
that was peak Disney.
Yeah, I think
that's
stopped watching Marvel movies was after Endgame.
That's when their free cash flow peaked to like 2018 or 2019. That was such a good, like, the hype around those movies was insane. Yeah, Endgame. That's.
I mean,
they made a recovery back up there, so I mean, you got to respect it.
Yeah, I think they've got not only more room to recover, but then grow from that point.
Buybacks as well. They're also
what Disney buybacks?
I believe so. Yeah, from up the top of my head.
I don't think the share. I think the share count's been holding steady at least lately.
It's a little bit of that's a buyback right there.
They did do a little bit of a buyback, huh?
I vividly remember a buyback. They're also growing the dividend as well, so
yeah,
you're into that. Then.
Honestly, I don't even want them to pay a dividend right now, like because I do think that they're cheap compared to what their free cash flow is going to be. I'd rather them either pay down debt or do buybacks.
Yeah,
because they've got almost 50 billion in total debt, 43.5 billion in net debt. So I think either cutting that down or doing a buyback would be a better value than paying like 0.8% dividend or whatever.
Yeah, less than 1% there.
Yeah, I gotta get in tune with what they're trying to put out now, because where they're putting out something good. But it's the new Captain America movie, but
another MCU movie. Come on, we're sick of those.
Yeah, it's not Captain America though, and Harrison Ford is the Red Hulk. So
yeah.
They're innovating, real innovation. Also, why not? We'll pull up some of the segments and KPIs as well, because we can do that on Finchat.
So I actually did like a short Disney video like yesterday, and one of the comments I got was Disney has 119,000 employees. What do they all do?
We'll take a look here.
And
is there anything we want to look at? We'll look at entertainment, sports revenue, and experiences. Those are the main 3 segments for them. So this is basically since 2020. It's all pretty much, it's honestly pretty experiences is actually going up still, which is impressive. They have a 5.8% growth rate on that, 4% growth rate on entertainment, and 3% on the sports revenue. So
I heard they were putting a big push into the cruises, which is in the experiences, I think.
That got wrecked by COVID.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was like the giant thing that absolutely
Yeah,
spent them
parks
out.
and cruises, like obviously if you're closing your parks and you're not doing your cruises, because those things were very expensive to put together, and you're just sitting there eating the carrying costs and everything.
It's
and
nice
still having to take your depreciation and everything. And
the consumer, though.
Yeah.
You don't have to deal with all the crowds and stuff. I'm sure that would have been nice to go on a cruise back then.
Yeah. Direct to consumer. Oh, this is okay. Wait, hold up. This is what happens when you get new software week of. What do we want to look at? Entertainment, operating income. We'll take a look at that.
I prefer the one I care about is actually streaming.
Streaming. Okay, I'll see if they have it here. I would say that's media, right?
Probably.
Put it up. 8.7% growth rate.
Most of that's probably from Disney Plus, I would say.
Yeah. Once Disney Plus is profitable, I think it already is profitable, which is the big thing that like you wanted to see if you still own the company. Now it's just kind of about getting back to pre. Oh, yeah. They also they had a stake in Fubo now, Fubo TV, which I literally have on in the background. 70% stake, so that's interesting because
isn't it that they and Fubo launched a new joint thing together, and Disney is a 70% stakeholder in that? Is that not what it is?
I have to.
That was my understanding, but I could be wrong.
I'm looking.
It's free.
It's a sports specific thing, though, right? That they were doing.
Disney will own 70% of Fubo.
Oh, okay.
And they're gonna have a merge thing too, so that'll be fun. That's not good. Probably not bullish. The Cash Flow Kings weren't even around there, so you couldn't spend some time catching up on episodes. It's not good.
Ooh, yeah. If that happened now, though, you've got over 65 episodes you could go back and binge through. That would help for sure.
All right, we'll give the 2-minute warning to anybody that wants to ask any last comments, questions, concerns with the episode. Always a fun time having Davis on to talk about wide variety of things tonight. But yeah, once again, we have a bit of a streak going on with channel members. We're 8 away from our goal by the end of 2025, so hopefully we can get that, maintain it, and I don't know. I'm happy because I didn't have to dance this week, and the humiliation of doing that hasn't gone away yet. So good fun.
You're scarred for life.
Yeah, it's just anytime I see the giant green thing pop up in the chat, I get like half of me is like, "Oh shoot, we got a new member," and then the other's like, "Oh, I have to dance."
Yeah, my personal take is just it's fine, but make sure you keep it short enough that we don't get hit with the.
Honestly, you just get rid of the audio. Get rid of the audio after, and it's just even funnier because you get just goes mute. And this.
Stabulo has been getting ignored here.
I think we should keep that trend. Ignoring it. Last time he said that, the stock went down 20% the next day. So I don't know how much.
It's funny, and I bought it. I bought it, and then it literally went down 20% the next day. Yeah.
Scammer.
But no, I did. I got more shares though. I just increased my stake by 66% after it went down, and I'm only down a little bit now. I guess I'm down more like 9% now than 20%. So it's going well. It's gonna 10x any day, I'm sure.
I need it. Davis, plug anything you'd like. I know you're active on YouTube, Twitter, everything. We'll put in the description box.
Yeah, I'm on for YouTube. I mostly just do ETF stuff. So if you want to learn more about different ETFs, that's kind of what my channel is for. If you want to keep it really simple, that's just what my channel is all about. I don't do any deep fundamental analysis or stock analysis or anything like that on my channel. So yeah, if you are interested in just learning a little bit more about different ETFs, if you want to watch me hate on SCHD, then check out my channel.
Oh, we do.
I'm
Have some
unlinking it now. Yeah, wait.
All right. This is a good question. Do you buy any energy stocks? I'm not in any right now. How about you?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm into one right now. I'm into VIST, Vista Energy. It's an oil and gas company out of Argentina and Mexico. Pretty undervalued, in my opinion. Very profitable company. And oil has seen some growth so far this year, and I think it will continue to kind of ramp up a little bit. So, yeah, VIST is one that I'm pretty heavy into. It's one of my favorites. I was in a Brazilian oil and gas company called Petrobras.
I've heard of that.
I've sold it. I want to put it into Vista because I think Vista's a little bit.
We might have to buy now, Fiscal.
Oh, that could be.
We might have to.
I'll want to take a look at.
I want to take a look. We can't talk about it on the High Time Roundtable, dude.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite stocks to invest in because it's fairly undervalued, but it's still a growth stock. Yeah, so PBL is more of a dividend paying stock. Vista is more of a growth energy company. So yeah, it's just kind of ramping up, and I think it's still fairly undervalued right now, and so I'll be buying over the next couple months. I bought probably a little less than 10 grand worth over the past 2 months, and I'll be buying more this year. So yeah, I love companies like Vista. Yeah, so it's a good one. Look into it.
There you go.
I'm not saying to buy it. I'm just saying to look into it. I can't give it.
Okay.
No. On the express financial advice of Davis Watkins, I bought.
I'm gonna get sued now.
Yeah. We'll have strongman cover. Our legal fees can be written off as a tax loss.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you all for watching. The Evolution Gaming Roundtable next week with Seymour Duckon and Influential. So that's going to be a fun time. If you're on the board or on the brink of buying Evolution Gaming, considering it, tune in next Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure especially that you are here 5 minutes early for the episode because the intro I made is just special. If we hit 1K by next week, it is special.
Also, if you're watching this on Twitter, follow.
Follow us on Twitter.
We got to follow the X account.
Yeah. We have 500 followers now, so thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. If you're interested in
follow my personal account too.
Yeah, Mr. Macho Log.
Come on.
I troll a little bit on X too. So if you
some
trolling.
Just
all
hit
the
that
links
follow
are in the
button, guys. It's
description.
free.
It's free. We don't we don't charge money for you to look at our portfolios. Unfortunately, we're not on that status yet.
Our CPA gave us the direct financial advice of grift harder, so maybe we'll have to do that.
Yeah,
Ryan, I was laughing out loud when you I think you like retweeted Dividend when he posted, or you don't retweet him, you just commented and said like no or something like that when he posted the subscribe to see my.
Oh yeah. I see something like that. I have to take it. You can't leave it there. Appreciate you all for watching. Tune in next week. Stay tuned throughout the week. It's going to be a fun episode. Thank you for watching. Smash like button, subscribe. Catch us on Twitter at CashflowKingsYT. Catch Davis on his stuff. Oh, there we go. We're all fancy now. Smash like button, subscribe. Do Dividend Stocks, Drugs. And of course, Cashflow is king. Oh yeah.